Welcome to our first Stay Connected webinar of 2023, and a special thanks to Kayte Partch and Eric Savaiano for presenting today about some of their current projects, after-school nutrition celebrations, and summer 2023. I'm Kim Larson, and it's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of our Get Connected Conference Planning Committee. So I'm going to let Kayte and Eric go ahead and take it away. As we go, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll try to keep an eye on that for you too. But thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you very much for being here, and we really appreciate the opportunity to share. I have a big piece of my heart with the after school folks these days. I've been to a few conferences and really enjoyed being around you all. One thing I love to mention is that you guys take more swag than anybody and everybody. You come talk to my table. You want to give it away. You work with the kids, and the kids love it. So you're good at your jobs, and you know your resources. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'll let Kayte, and then we'll jump in. But I am Eric Savaiano. I work with Nebraska Appleseed, and we get to host the Nebraska Snack Coalition, which is a group of folks doing good work to get more kids food around the state, especially through federal programs like child nutrition. And yeah, I'm going to talk to you about the first part, after school nutrition celebrations. And then I'll let Kayte, you can introduce yourself too.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kayte Partch. I work for Nutrition Services at the Department of Education, and I'm the director of the Child Nutrition Programs. And you're probably very familiar with those because of the work and the world in which you work. Let's see, like school meals, after school snacks, and the summer meals programs are the three big USDA child nutrition programs. So we're approaching summer and thought it was a good time. It seems like we aren't, because Lorna's just been talking about all the snow she's had, but summer comes quickly, and it's a short program. That means it moves very rapidly. So you've got to start the summer really prepared. So that this would be a good opportunity to help plant that seed and get people's minds sort of refocused on what they need to get done after maybe March, if they're interested in participating in that program.
All right, so we're going to start. We kind of have two separate topics we wanted folks to know about. I'm going to start with, let's see if I can get this to go forward. There we go. Oh, it's going forward on its own. I'm going to talk about after school nutrition celebrations, and then Kayte's going to jump on the summer 2023 work. We're going to split it, and then there's plenty of time for questions, I'm sure, afterward. So just to give folks an understanding of who I am, this is not turning. There we go. Nebraska Appleseed has been in the food and nutrition access space for 20 years in Nebraska. I've gotten to do this work for about 7 or 8 years now. But overall, our organization is designed to fight for justice and opportunity for all Nebraskans. We have a lot of different issue areas that we work on to try to affect systemic level problems, not always just giving away free food or to hungry kids or coats to cold kids, but try to make sure they don't need that in the first place. They can have it on their own. So we have issues related to poverty, healthcare, child welfare, like foster youth, and immigration. So we have some lawyers on staff. I'm not one of them, but like to lean on them for issues that relate to policy change. The legislature started yesterday, so we're focused on that a bit. Organizing in communities, and then sometimes those lawyers, as a last resort, do class action litigation. As I said, I get to run the Nebraska Snack Student Nutrition Action Committee, which has been around for 2 or 3 years. And before that, we were the Go Big Breakfast Coalition. It's got people in this room as members, folks in the nutrition world. And our goal is to make sure kids have the food they need to thrive. So In the past, as I said, it's been Go Big Breakfast, and we focused on child nutrition and breakfast in schools, making sure folks know they have options to increase access in those programs. But very recently, we've grown the coalition to do more and focus on lunch and summer and today and things like today, where we're talking about after school snacks and suppers. So yes, so we've done a couple of years of work in this area, and that's why we've been at those fun conferences and met you all and handed out a lot of No Kid Hungry stuff. I was just messing with it today, but nothing close at hand to show you. So yeah, we have a plan that we developed in the School Nutrition Action Committee to celebrate the after school nutrition heroes in our state. Those are the folks who are serving those meals and making sure kids have what they need in the after school programs that you all run. And so it's a fun opportunity to just raise up those folks. A lot of times they don't get some of the recognition they deserve. They're the folks who during the pandemic were serving those meals. A lot of times during the day, during those 1, 2, or 3 meals to grab and go for families to just drive up and be able to take food home. You all know as well as I do that a lot of times those school meals or those after school meals can be the only meals those kids get in a day. And so it's a really important job, and one that folks we're hurting for around the state to keep people in those jobs, find new folks in the jobs. What we think our best opportunity to do these days is to just raise them up and tell them thank you very much. So this is our plan. I'm going to share a bit about it. We have a specific date, week spread that we want to give folks the option to do an event, a personalized event in your communities, February 6th through 10th. We've heard that's about when folks kind of get a little down in the dumps. It's the cold year or cold month in the year, and it's hard to know how much colder it could get for the Western Nebraska folks, but that's what we're doing. All right, this is just I'll say aloud one time, our goal is to honor those school nutrition professionals helping provide after school snacks and suppers to students in Nebraska. And we're not going to shove some event down your throat. We want to give you all the chance to create something on your own. Again, after school program providers, you're some of my favorite people because you are flexible and you can change programs and you can engage a small group in planning something super fun. And that's kind of what we're asking folks to do. So choose a date or time that works for you. Make it near or during the week of the 6th through the 10th of February, and blow it up. Make it huge, make it small, make it meaningful to your community. So we created some ideas. Katie, maybe you can drop this in the chat on the top of the note section in this page or the one before. There is a toolkit that we created for you to look at and plan with. So here's some of those basics. It looks a lot like this one. It will look like this, but here are some of the basics. Yes, include the kids in your planning or other folks around the school. There's ways to honor those folks with digital efforts. Post a slide on the those school monitors, create a social media post, take pictures, decorate. We have customized coloring pages that can be fun for kids to do and then write thank you on and hand over to those nutrition professionals. Make cards, banners as well, and then recognize them in ways where you know they will be heard. Maybe morning announcements, maybe calling them out of the kitchen or somewhere you know they're going to be and give them some applause with the group of kids. We have a small going beyond section where we had some silly ideas like make them some food instead of them making you food all the time, and texting out to all your parents to send messages and compile that into something meaningful. So, yep, here's some pictures of efforts we've done in the past where we've tried to honor the good work of nutrition professionals. It's pretty easy to set out some construction paper and write some cool notes, have them draw their favorite meal, write a letter they can hang in the kitchen. Super fun. This is a picture of it from Millard Public Schools, getting those things handed over to those nutrition professionals, and some high fives. Hey, that's a great way to celebrate too. All right, so to celebrate, we're also asking folks, we're going to put out some social media posts ourselves, but you can do your own. We try to make it as easy as possible. At the bottom of that idea toolkit is the social media templates that I have listed here. You can copy paste those and add a picture of your own staff. So that's basically it. I want to just summarize what we have talked about and give you this one more time. Our goal is to celebrate the after-school nutrition staff. This is an idea that came from within some of those nutrition staffs and the people who lead the after-school meals. So they think it's a really important time to be doing it too, February. Come up with a fun idea, include kids or your community. Forgot a little close parentheses. But do it around February 6th to 10th. And then share your fun with a hashtag afterschool nutrition heroes, so we can look at them and find them on those social media platforms like Facebook and the others. All right. There's time for questions at the end, so write them down. I'm going to pass it over to Kate.
Thank you, Eric. Hi, people in the room. Some of you, your names are familiar to me because you have been somehow involved in summer meals in the past. And so just a brief background on that. The Summer Food Service Program is an opportunity to receive reimbursement to meals served to kids ages 1 through 18 when school isn't in session, like during that normal summertime break. So lots of schools participate in the program because it's a nice way to provide meals to students who are doing some sort of summertime enrichment or a summer school type program. You can't use the program to serve meals exclusively to just the summer school students, but you can serve to summer school students if you open the meals up community-wide to any child who wants to attend. So that's the way that most schools choose to operate the program. We've got a number of nonprofits that participate as well because it's a nice way to offer additional support to those kids and therefore their families when those kids are enrolled in some summertime programming that nonprofits offer when school isn't in session. So we can go ahead and move to the next slide, Eric. One thing I want to emphasize is that if you've been in this world for the last couple of years, you know that the USDA has issued a lot of flexibility in the way the programs have operated, and those flexibilities have not continued and will not continue, at least not to my knowledge. So we need to emphasize that summer meal sites have to be located in areas that are what we call in the program area eligible, meaning they're in pockets of communities or in small communities where the need is higher, and that's demonstrated by eligibility for free or reduced price school meals. So at least 50% of the students in a school's attendance area or in a census tract have to be eligible to receive the free or reduced price meals in order for a summer meal site to operate in that community or in that area of a town or city. We know that summer meals and nutrition in general is a really needed and wonderful support for children's social emotional well-being. You know, meeting that basic need helps them develop like they're supposed to, and giving them a place and a time with some folks that they can trust because they get to know the adults at those summer meal sites over the course of a summer. They're like a regular, trustworthy, kind person with a smiling face that they see every day, and that can make a huge difference in the life of a kid. In addition to, like I said, that basic need being met through good nutrition at those meal service sites. So we think of summer meals as more than just food. It can mean a lot more to some kids. So that's one of the reasons we love the program and always want to see it grow. We know that it provides those healthy foods when school is out, and we've got some nice connections we're trying to build in terms of integrating more local foods, not only into the menu items that are offered, but also into some of that enrichment programming that we know can help keep kids engaged in summer meals for the duration of the summer. There are times when it's just not that motivating to come to a meal service site if the only thing that's offered is food. If they've got $5 in a convenience store nearby, you know, it's just an easier thing for them to walk the 2 blocks to the convenience store with their $5. That might be the option they choose. However, what we can do to sort of help stem that is to offer some enrichment programming, and we've got some nice resources we can make available, and really want to support operators in integrating local foods and opportunities to make that a learning component of their summer meals program. So I'll share a little bit about that here in a couple of minutes, and we can go to the next slide. Wanted to make sure, in case you receive questions or you're a part of an organization or know of a person at another organization that you think might be a good fit for summer meals, just make sure you're aware of what some of those basic requirements of the program are, because with any federally taxpayer funded program, there are some quote unquote strings attached necessary. We want to uphold the integrity of the program while providing that needed service to kiddos statewide. So anyway, just a reminder, this is a reimbursement program, right? So sponsors, organizations, schools that participate receive reimbursement based on the number of meals they serve to kids, and if they serve those meals at eligible sites that the agency NDE has approved. So that's good. So to make those meals reimbursable, they need to follow a meal pattern with some basic requirements, nothing too difficult or stringent. It's very basic. And I put a snip of the lunch and supper meal pattern requirements here just to give you a visual. You could take a moment to look at that to see that those meals are supposed to be pretty well-rounded. That's how we want them to look and taste, and the purpose we want them to serve for kids' bodies is good nutrition. They have to serve a milk, 2 fruit and vegetable items at a lunch, as well as a grain and then a meat alternate. So trying to meet all those nutrition needs. We know different foods provide different vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. So that variety is really key in helping give kids access to things they need to grow and to be ready when school resumes each August. And then meeting those minimum serving requirements is also part of that. And then writing that stuff down. So we want to make sure there's a good record of what you've done in terms of what you served, but also how many kids you've served. So just saying there's some paperwork involved, of course, but we try to make it minimally cumbersome and give you lots of support in understanding exactly what that paperwork needs to look like and the information it would need to be able to include. So those are some of the basics. So an organization obviously has to have the setup to be able to do those things in order to run the program effectively. You can move on to the next one, Eric. Just a quick visual of the locations at which we had summer meal sites spread statewide in the summer of 2022. Lots of concentration in our more populated areas, of course, but we've got great representation in the Panhandle. We always say there are opportunities for growth in North Central and Southwest Nebraska. It can be difficult overcoming the challenges related to just the geography of the state and the long distance that kids would have to travel to get to a summer meal site. So we're always looking for sponsors who have innovative ideas to offer a meal delivery to certain locations in those really small communities where kids might be able to gather. And we really emphasize taking the meals to where the kids would normally be in the summertime. Might be a library, a city park with a swimming pool, something like that. Those are the kinds of places that historically have been the most successful, but still looking for new and interesting ideas for organizations that might have a way to sort of address that geographic challenge that Nebraska faces. So in preparation for 2023, as I mentioned a couple of slides ago, you've got to take into account those sort of regulatory requirements that you've got to have staffing and resources to adhere to. and take a look at the area eligibility map, which I will put in the chat when we have time for questions and answers, because it can be a helpful tool. And use that in conjunction with your knowledge of where kids tend to spend their time in the summertime. Those two things together are going to help identify sites that are even allowed to operate, but also the ones that are going to be the most successful, because meal participation equals success. And the more kids there are, the higher the likelihood is you're going to have good meal participation in places where those kids already gather and spend time in the summer. Then next, and just equally important, is assessing resources available to an organization potentially interested in the program. Remember, you've got to be able to provide those meals that meet those basic requirements. You've got to have some staff and or volunteers. So we've got nice examples of how communities utilize volunteer resources to really staff their sites throughout the summer. So financially, paying staff is a very small burden for operations that lean heavily on volunteers to provide that service. Consider too what kinds of partner organizations you've got to support activities at the site, to help you do ongoing promotion about the availability of food and activities throughout the summer. So all those things are sort of best practices that we have found have helped support the most successful and enduring summer meal sites over time. Yeah, last thing I want to mention is a new resource we have available in the Farm to Summer world. It's called the Turn Up the Beat Award, which is a nationally, like, what do I want to say? It's brought to us from the USDA. So it's a national level award, and sponsors in every state have the opportunity to apply for the award. And we wanted to be able to support interest in the award and applying for the award, and increase the success rate of folks from Nebraska who apply. So we've got a nice social media sort of package ready to go to promote that, and we'll be able to share some resources, including sample menus, where you can utilize that as an example of how to develop and integrate local foods into a summertime menu that's going to be obviously high quality, fresh, appetizing, very appealing, nutritious, and local foods when possible. So we can take a look at the next slide as an example of some of the resources we will soon share with sponsors that are planning to operate the summer program. You don't have to follow the menu verbatim, and you don't have to use all of the other resources we've developed to support the Turn Up the Beat application and award. But we thought it'd be a nice way to spark some interest in Farm to Summer, because it's just a perfect time to utilize local items during the summertime, things that a school or other kind of summer meal sponsor might grow in a garden of its own. And getting kids involved in that food production thing is a really great way to keep them interested in summer meals. It'll give them an activity that they might enjoy coming back to check on, like the growth and development of those garden items, and get them more interested perhaps in trying new foods and actually eating the items that they're going to receive through summer meals. So an example might be growing cherry tomatoes, and maybe you use those as a salad or taco topping, and maybe your site doesn't grow enough cherry tomatoes for all the meals, but whatever you grow can be included, and the kids don't have to know that the others maybe came from the grocery store. You know, you can fudge on that just a little bit to pique their interest and keep them coming back for more. So those are, like I said, some new developments in the Farm to Summer world that we're excited to be able to offer and help you utilize as a support system for a strong summer meals program. And I will put the area eligibility map link in the chat now. And then, yeah, any other questions you have, feel free to put in the chat or unmute. But maybe Eric thinks I forgot to mention something he thinks is important. Happy to answer that too, Eric. I left that out.
Only thing I maybe didn't hear was that after school program eligibility and summer eligibility based on free and reduced price lunch is the same. That's why we're talking to you about summer.
Katie, did you say you have a website with resources people could go to?
We do have a summer meals, website at ND. I'll put that link in the
Okay.
chat
thank you.
too. Not all of the newest resources for 2023 are up there yet, but we'll continue to add them. So if you set a calendar reminder to go check back there, hopefully each time you check in the coming months, you'll see something new. Yeah, thanks, Kim.
Yeah, we can include that link then with the recording of this webinar. And Eric, if you have any resources to share, we're able to do that.
That's great.
These are great programs. Any questions from anybody about implementing in your community?
So basically, if we save this chat, we're going to have pretty much all the resources we need, correct, Eric?
Yes.
Okay.
I think in general, we just are keeping it simple. We have that one pager.
Does that have your slideshow with all that information on it in the chat also? Or is that not helpful?
No.
This has got what we need though. It's got that one cover page and stuff. Okay. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's got everything you need with the details. But you should also see this information in, it sounds like a 21st Century newsletter that recently went out. And you can also, I'm hopeful we can get an email out to folks too.
Yeah, we sent our newsletter out early this week, so there is a link to that worksheet.
It was in there, Jan?
Yes.
The January, okay, sorry. I
Yeah,
saw that,
that's
but
okay.
I didn't see the link. Okay, thank you. That answers
I think
that
it's up
question.
in
That takes,
I think it's up in the notes for tomorrow or for next week's project director meeting,
okay,
grant management meeting. And Eric is kind enough to join us for the beginning of that meeting to share some information and answer questions that any of you had. I really do appreciate Katie and Eric, you spending the time. 21st Century, you know, to even apply for one of our grants, the free reduced lunch rate has to be 40% or greater. And of our 142 sites that serve, I think last year was around 16,000 students, the average free reduced lunch rate was between 70 and 75%. So I'm hoping that some of our directors that might watch this recording or beyond today, if they're not already doing a summer meal program and their free reduced lunch rate is 50% or greater, we'll check that out with the nutrition folks to see if, you know, if you could get a site started. So thank you guys for sharing all this wonderful information.
There was one question that came in from Deidre that went directly to me, but I put it to the full group. Maybe it's for Katie. We start our after school program on Monday. Do I need to apply now for summer? I'm assuming summer, or maybe STEM mentors to Sandra. Good questions.
I can say for summer, it's a long ways off, kind of. I mean, it seems like a long ways. We don't require an application to be complete and submitted to us until early May. Is Deidre from Gothenburg? Hold on, I know your name. Sydney? I can't place it though. I was just trying to recall in my head if you're eligible for summer meals at all, and then that would help me narrow if this question was even for that.
Deidre got to me directly. Oh, yeah, Ainsworth.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay. You've got lots of time before the summer application would need to be done, Deidre. And we will send reminders and updates about the application deadline and help you by giving you a guide. And there will be some information we provide about required training and preparation for summer meals as well. So. There's a possibility you might be referring to after school snack though. And what the application looks like for that. I'd have to go look at your application myself to see what you've got in there, because if you've submitted something and we're serving snacks in the fall, then there's nothing new to do as far as nutrition services is concerned for the spring semester.
Katie, for your Turn Up the Beat award, I just want to say I'm not a great cook. I don't cook every meal from scratch at my house, but I did recently learn how to make a pretty good beet hummus. So if anyone wants that recipe.
I love that. You should
Let me
share
know.
that. Do you roast them
Yes.
first, the beets? Yeah.
Pretty good.
Marla in our office, you know Marla, she likes to make a beet hummus too.
Oh, okay. We'll
Yeah.
have to compare.
Compare recipes. Sure.
Any more questions for Eric or Katie? We'll post this recording on our Stay Connected site. If you have other resources that you want us to include, websites or your PowerPoint, anything, we can add those as well. Thank you for your work. It's such important work, both of you. Your programs are essential, so we appreciate it.
It wouldn't mean anything without the people here doing it, so we appreciate them too.
Sandra, I saw you had an announcement about STEM mentors. Did you want to say anything quickly about that?
I'll just be real quick. The deadline was next week and it's been extended to January 15th. And we just found out that the 4-H Foundation has some funding to support programs that are interested in doing STEM mentors. This is in addition to the funding that's available from Beyond School Bells. So I do encourage, if you're interested in being part of STEM mentors, that's I think it's 4-week program where a student from the university connects with your kids in your after school program and does some STEM activities with them. We can pay for your participation in the program, so it doesn't cost you anything. But we do need to get those registrations in about 10 days. So just wanted to let people know to think about that and submit or ask me questions if you're interested.
Thank you, Sandra. We'll try to help you spread the word. It's another great program. So our next Stay Connected webinar will be January 19th. They're always the first and third Thursday of the month at noon. If you want to go ahead and mark your calendars. Our next one is January 19th on Walk to Unlock Nebraska. And Erica Wibbles is going to talk about their Eastern Nebraska Spring Pilot. So it's a way to have your students explore different parts of the state and learn about our geography, history, and so on. So she will be sharing about that. If you're new to Stay Connected webinars, if you go to our website, maybe Sandra or Jan, if you could put the website in the chat for us. On our main Stay Connected page, there's a form you can fill out to get professional development credit for participation. So go ahead and visit our website and make sure that you fill out the form. And then Sherry Landis, our wonderful assistant, I think monthly, puts those certificates out and gets those to you. So thank you very much for your time today. Eric, Katie, special thank you to you. And we'll look forward to seeing you on January 19th at noon Central Time, I should say. Thanks, everybody.